How do we feel about nanoblading?
One of the best beauty procedures I've done.
Like, you can't tell me these are not my eyebrows.
That looks real.
I'm obsessed.
They heal softer, look more natural, and they age a lot more graceful.
It is the best decision I've ever made to this day.
Today we're talking about nano brows, the newer, more realistic version of microblading that's popping up everywhere. It's so convincing it almost makes me understand the hype. But it's still pigment going into your skin, still a tattoo. And we honestly don't know yet how it holds up over time.
If you're thinking about doing nano brows or microblading, listen to this.
This is going to ruffle some feathers, but microblading is an outdated technique. Just because you love your microbladed brows doesn't mean you wouldn't love nano brows even more. They heal softer, look more natural, and they age a lot more graceful. They are harder to master, which is why you don't see many artists doing them yet. But do yourself a favor. If you're going to get your brows done or redone, look for a nano brow artist near you.
Nano strokes are ultra fine, hair-like lines created to mimic your own natural hair. The goal is to give you that woke up like this look.
If you've ever gotten your brows nanobladed, I need to hear about your experience.
I got my eyebrows nanobladed yesterday and it was the best decision I've ever made. I could never find a shape for them. I never knew what hairs to keep, which hairs to pluck off. I've overplucked them. I let them grow out too much. So I made the decision to go get nanoblading done yesterday. You can see like all the little hair strokes in here and like some shading at the end. So basically it's like a tattoo for your eyebrows. It lasts just as long as a tattoo does. It is suggested to get it touched up 4 weeks later after getting it done because it does like scab up and peel off just like a tattoo does. I did end up getting the lightest brown, so this is like super dark right now and they fade up to 50% within the next like 7 days. So she suggested me getting a darker color, but I was just like scared to commit to it. So this is like pretty dark right now. And honestly, like I like them dark, so maybe at my touch-up appointment I will get them darker. This is what the little healing guide looks like within like the next like 14 days. Here's more of a close-up. You can see like all the individual strokes right here, but this will like all fade to where it looks like super natural. The main part that I needed help on was my tails. I've been using eyebrow serum and everything underneath here will grow out, but when it comes to my tails, they will never grow out. So I got some shading done on the tail right here, along with like some strokes in between to make it look more natural. And then after the 4-week touch-up, if you want to get it touched up again, it's suggested to do it within 1 to 3 years afterwards, depending on like your skin type and like your health on like how it like will fade.
One of the best beauty procedures I've done to this date. I got my brows nanobladed, which is like very hair-like, very natural strokes. Here are my before and afters. Insane.
I got my microblading done 6 years ago and I have not touched them up since, so I'm back with my artist and this time we're trying nano brows. So first she measured my face and brows to make sure everything is symmetrical, and then she applies the strokes with a fine pencil based off what I told her that I wanted. We take a look in the mirror together and decide on the final look, and then we get started. It's great because she has her expertise, but she also listened to me about what I personally liked for my eyebrows. Then we swatched different colors on my forehead to see what the ink would really look like on my skin. Then we got started on doing the actual tattoo. So nano brows use a machine instead of a blade, so it's finer strokes, more precise, and less invasive. Similar to microblading, you're still going to do a few passes of the tattoo, but don't worry, if you have a low pain tolerance, you are numb, so it's very comfortable. And that is it. Look how gorgeous these eyebrows are. She did such a good job. I only go to her. I only trust her. Now, these are darker than what the final result will be, but I love that I could just walk out of the studio and I look totally normal, no irritation, and they just look amazing. This is what they look like now after a week of healing. I go back in 3 weeks for a touch-up.
I don't have eyebrows and today I'm getting them nanobladed. It's just like microblading, but more precise and smaller and just more realistic. And I know I look like Mia Goth. I hear it all the fucking time. Here's before. Oh, and it's so cool. Okay, before. Okay. So I asked if it's gonna fade to orange or gray, and she said,
industry has evolved so much after like 2020. The pigments have all been neutralized and they stay truer to their color.
So I have numbing on and she's about to do a second layer.
You want to see?
That looks so real. You're a magician. It was painful without the numbing. Not very painful, but like annoying. But like, god damn. That looks real.
Okay, I'm getting nano brows today. I am so excited. Here are my brows before, and I'll show you guys the after. Shut up. Look at these brows.
This feels like the natural next question after microblading. Older microblading has a pretty well-known set of problems by now. Faded pigment, brows that turn red or gray, blocky shapes, uneven strokes, people going in for laser removal, just generally being stuck with something on their face that doesn't match them anymore. Then you come across nano brows and it almost feels like the industry is saying, no, this is different now, we evolved. And to be fair, the results do look different.
Okay guys, I'm getting my eyebrows done and this is what they look like right now. No filter, nothing. They are clearly, they need cleaning up, but that was the whole point. I had to grow them out. But yeah, so we'll see the after.
Y'all, do y'all see what I'm seeing? Do you guys see what I'm seeing? Look at how good they turned out. I'm speechless. I am absolutely speechless because this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted it to look as natural as possible, like literal hair strokes. I didn't want to get it microbladed because I feel like microblading looks a little splotchy. And then I stumbled upon this nanoblading. She ate. She absolutely ate. My eyebrows are a little bit red still from the because it's still puncturing the skin. But look, they look so stinking good. Like the fact that I don't have to do my eyebrows and it's semi-permanent, and depending on how it process, it's at least a year of not having to do a lot of touch-ups or anything like that. Like, are you kidding me? Not having to do my eyebrows, just waking up like this? So worth it. So freaking worth it. Like,
this was the day that I finally got eyebrows. As someone who struggled with growing eyebrows their whole life, you best believe I was so excited for this. I'm not even kidding. I spent hundreds of dollars on eyebrow serums my whole life, but I don't have that kind of money anymore, so I bit the bullet and I got my eyebrows nanobladed. So I flew to the motherland to get my eyebrows permanently nanobladed. How my eyebrows looked before I got there. And girl, the only reason why I have eyebrow hairs is simply because of this $120 serum that I've used almost every single day of my life. But I obviously don't want to do that anymore. So the first step to begin the procedure is numbing cream. This took about 30 to 40 minutes to settle in. And then my brow tech started mapping my eyebrows. She made sure that they were even and it was the shape that I wanted. And she truly took her time on this, which I really appreciate. I specifically wanted to do nanoblading because I love how real the hair strokes look. So this is what they look like after she mapped them out. And I'm just in awe of the technique and the precision. So at this point, the numbing cream has fully settled in and I cannot feel my eyebrows anymore. But that's when you know you're ready for the needle. I didn't feel anything at all at this point. And even if you did, the needle is so ultra fine that it kind of just feels like a rash. But low key, I kind of like the feeling of this, and maybe that's just because I'm crazy. After about an hour laying on the bed, we are almost done. Then she put this yellow cream on my eyebrows, and I'm not sure what it's supposed to do, but that's when you know you're one step closer to the final product. And boom, there she is. She looks so beautiful. No, but seriously, they look so good. Just can't get over how natural they look. I mean, girl, there's a reason I came to Vietnam to get my eyebrows done. One, because of how affordable it is, but two, because of how amazing they are at their craft. For about a week, I went back for a touch-up. So this is what it looked like after that touch-up session. In total, this cost me $270. Girl, we already know how much the states are gonna charge you. So I don't know about you, but I thought this was a pretty damn good deal.
This is what my eyebrows used to look like before with no makeup. I definitely had eyebrows, but they lacked a lot of structure. This is what my eyebrows look like now without any makeup. I got my eyebrows nanobladed 7 months ago, and this is exactly what the healing process looked like. Because my eyebrows are pretty naturally light, if they're women, I felt like they looked crazy, but looking back, they actually don't even look bad here. These are my eyebrows right before the procedure. The goal here was to extend my eyebrow tail because I didn't really have one. I really wanted those natural hair-like strokes, and honestly, I was just trying to achieve symmetry. These are my eyebrows right after, and I remember driving home thinking, did I make a mistake because they looked so dark? This is 4 days after, no product, nothing. You're actually not even allowed to put anything in your eyebrows. Because my hair is so dark, I was actually loving it at this point. This is exactly 1 month after. This here is about 3 months after. It's definitely added so much structure to my face. And this picture is from yesterday, so they definitely have lightened a lot. I am overdue for a touch-up, but honestly, best decision I've ever made.
Most of the women in this video are genuinely happy. Some call it the best beauty procedure they've ever done. Some say it cut their makeup routine down. Some finally got the brow tails they never had. Some say they can wake up with eyebrows and skip the 15 minutes of drawing them on every morning. I get that. Eyebrows frame your whole face. If yours are sparse, uneven, overplucked, or missing tails, it can feel like your face is unfinished. A lot of these women have been filling their brows in since middle or high school, years of pencils and pomades and serums, trying to fake a shape that looked natural. So when nano brows give them these tiny hair-like strokes that actually hold up, it feels like freedom. And honestly, that's why this trend pulls people in. Nano brows are marketed as softer, more precise, more realistic, and visually, I get the obsession. Some of these brows don't read as good tattoo. They read as, wait, is that actually your eyebrow hair?
Come with me to get nano brows. I'm so excited because, as you can see, I'm a victim of the over plucking, over waxing trend of the 90s. And I have wanted nano brows for so long, and today I'm getting them. Okay, I'm not spiraling because I've got a lot worse stuff going on in my life right now, if I'm being honest. But I'm spiraling a little bit. So I chose nano brows, and I was so excited about nano brows because every single thing I've read about nano brows says that they are lifelike, hair-like, hyper-realistic eyebrow strokes. that make it look like you have hairs where you do not have hairs, right? And that's what I wanted. I don't like the filled in eyebrow look at all, which is the first thing I told the tech who was doing my eyebrows. And by the way, I'm not naming a business. I'm not dragging anyone. They were very kind and they seem like great people. And this is not to drag anybody. I just want to know if my expectations were unrealistic and if it's weird that I am upset because I literally hate these eyebrows more than I've ever hated anything in my whole life. I literally said that I hate the filled in look and I wanted hairs where I did not have hairs. And I'm confused because I looked at so many pictures and so many videos and so many befores and afters of nano brows. And even on people with like alopecia who had zero hair at all, they got nano brows and they were hyper realistic hair strokes that just made it look like they had real eyebrows and they looked amazing. And this, like these hair strokes here, to me don't look realistic at all. They're all the exact same shape and size. They're just like lines and kind of the same over here. And then they're also very uneven. This eyebrow is much lower than this eyebrow. Like now they match. Now they don't. Maybe if I just get a facelift like on this side of my head, like this is the exact look that I explained that I did not want. And if I had known that nano brows were going to look like this, I would never in 1,000 years have paid $650 plus tip to look like this. I like the natural look. I cannot stand the super filled in look. It's just not me. It's not natural. I look like I was very heavy-handed with a pencil that's too dark for my face. Now, I did pick the color based on the explanation to me that it would fade. And so, but again, I thought I was getting hyper realistic hair strokes. And that's not what this is.
This is why the artist matters more than the technique itself. The tool is more advanced with nano brows, but the artist still makes or breaks it, the mapping, the color choice, the pressure, the depth, the stroke pattern, whether they actually understand your face. One person talked about her artist measuring her face, mapping it out, swatching colors, and checking in before committing to a final look. That's what you want. Someone studying your face, not just tattooing brows onto it. And honestly, that's where most of the disappointment actually comes from. Not because nano brows are bad, but because what someone expected and what they got didn't match. That's just the nature of cosmetic tattooing. You can explain exactly what you want, bring photos, and still walk out realizing your artist's version of natural isn't your version of natural.
New brows unlocked. Let's go get my eyebrows tatted back on. I'm actually really excited to talk about this because I realized I don't think I've ever made a video about this. Basically 2 years ago in 2024, I decided to get my eyebrows nano bladed for the very first time. It is the best decision I've ever made to this day. My whole life, I've grown up basically having no brows. I've had the craziest brow journey probably known to man. Started learning how to fill them in around like middle school / high school. They just never looked good and didn't look natural at all. I had the very thick brows. I had the very thin brows. I had the very dark brows. Like I just had every single eyebrow phase that you could even imagine. I did a lot of research and I found out about nanoblading. It's pretty different than microblading. It's very natural, thin, hair-like strokes, but I still wanted to be able to like do my eyebrows a little bit. My biggest struggle was like not having enough hair in the places that I wanted. When I got my eyebrows nanobladed, it was nice because it's like I have a lot more to work with. It's definitely time for me to go and get it touched up. I even brought some new inspo, which I will insert here. Figured I would bring you guys along just so you can see a little bit of the process.
So I go to iDesign New York and I see Laura, and the first thing she does is she numbs the area where she's going to be working on. Very important to note that nanoblading is quite literally a tattoo. So she's outlining where she's going to do the hair strokes versus where she did last time. And then she takes an ultrafine needle to make small hair-like strokes, and that deposits the pigment. I wouldn't say it hurts, but it's definitely not the most comfortable thing. But look at these results, and this is gonna last me like 2 years. My appointment was at 12 and we finished around 1:20, so a little over an hour. And this is my little aftercare instruction. I just got home and I wanted to show what it's looking like in natural lighting. It's insane when you see how detailed the hair strokes are. I also wanted to show it in this lighting again. I feel like slight redness
redness here, but again, that's because it's literally a tattoo. Just as if you were getting a tattoo, you're gonna have a little bit of irritation after. Just wanted to show lighting from this way as well. Usually with like the healing, it's like can't get your eyebrows wet for the first week. After a few days, the top layer will start to shed, but the shedding's not really super noticeable either. Very light, at least in my opinion. I'm trying to see what else. No like heavy sweating, so hot yoga or anything that you're gonna really sweat in. So glad I did this right before it starts to get really warm and I'm outside all the time in summer, because it's technically better to not be as exposed to sunlight and everything to help it heal better. Really important to plan this at a time where there's no conflict with your healing. Usually I still fill in my eyebrows a little bit, but this just cuts down the time, which is going to be so nice. I'm so excited for that again, because it usually takes me forever to fill them in.
Keep in mind that touch-ups matter. So if you're doing too many touch-ups too frequently, your delicate strokes can blend together or even blur. Okay, so choose your technique wisely, choose your artist wisely, so you can love your brows for a long time.
Yesterday, so I got Nano brows. If you've been here for a while, you know my whole brow journey. I had them lasered off. I had 3 laser treatments, so they were finally light enough that I could have them redone. And so yesterday I went and got Nano brows. I'm so happy with them. I wanted something really natural. Like I wanted something that looked natural when I'm not wearing makeup, and then I can always go in and pencil them in later if I want to do more glam, I can pencil them in or darken them, whatever. But I love them. I feel like they look super natural. I've been on this journey for what feels like forever. And if you actually look really close, you can still see some of the hairs are still white from the laser treatments that I had, but I've had these brows for less than 24 hours. They're still a little bit red. So I'll definitely like show you them once they're healed. But I know so many of you are wondering, because there's so many of us that are on the same journey trying to get rid of old microbladed brows. Mine were super old. They went completely red. I'll put a picture here of what they looked like before, but I'm so happy with them. I feel like she did such a good job.
Guys, if you look at my face right now and look at my post from just yesterday, you will see a very stark difference. And all I want to say is nano blading is 100% that girl, worth every single penny. Because this is zero makeup around my eyebrows. I'm not allowed to put makeup on my eyebrows for like the next week because I just got it done yesterday. But you can't tell. You can't tell a thing because they're literally shaved like 15 to 20 minutes off my makeup routine. I kid you not. I will never have to worry about brows. I am so happy.
The biggest difference people point to is the technique itself. Microblading uses a blade to cut tiny lines into the skin. Nano brows use a machine with a single needle to create individual hair-like strokes, so the pitch is that it's more precise, less invasive, more flexible for soft, realistic strokes. And honestly, that tracks with what you see. A lot of nano brows skip that old stamped-on look. They're lighter, softer, less harsh. Some artists say the strokes heal more naturally and age better than traditional microblading. And that if you have oily skin, sensitive skin, or old brow tattoos, nano brows might be a better option than going back in with a blade. But a better technique doesn't mean a risk-free one. That's where people get too comfortable. Newer doesn't automatically mean safer. Thinner strokes can still blur. A machine doesn't guarantee a good artist. And looking amazing on day one doesn't mean it ages well on your actual face over the next few years. Because at the end of the day, nano brows are still a cosmetic tattoo. They still open the skin, they still scab, heal, fade, and need touch-ups. If the shape or color or style is off, it's still on your face. So yeah, probably more advanced than microblading. Not magic. And I think that's worth sitting with, because the same way microblading was once sold as the perfect fix, nano brows are being sold as the new perfect fix right now. New beauty techniques almost always look great in year 1. It's usually years 2, 3, and 4 that tell you the real story.
Okay, it's time for another brow update. Since you've been asking, we're on day 10 of healing. So I've learned that there are 6 phases of brow healing. Day 1 is the, oh dear God, what did I just do phase? And days 2 to 4, that's where I came on TikTok. That's the call your lawyer phase, because you cannot believe how dark and horrible it looks. Now I'm going to reiterate. I asked for wispy fine hairs and not powder brows, and I kind of received a combo of that I wasn't happy with. So when people are like, oh, quit complaining, it hasn't faded yet, it hasn't healed. No, I get that. But if you missed the first couple of videos, the whole entire point was I asked for wispy, realistic hair strokes. That was the picture that I showed, and it was work from the studio itself. I got the picture from their social media of one of their clients, and I really liked her results. And they were not powder at all. They were just hair strokes. And so that's what I wanted. So a lot of people are like, you just need to stop complaining until they heal. No, I get that, but they're going to heal as something I didn't ask for, and that was why I was upset initially. So just to clear that up in case anybody's still wondering. So phase 2 was awful, and I was like, what did I do to myself? Everybody was telling me I needed to sue everything and everyone in existence. Let's all calm down. They're just eyebrows. Nobody's getting sued over this. I mean, like, if they had lit my eyebrows on fire or something and left me permanently damaged, maybe, but not for nano brows that I don't like. So the third phase of healing, days 5 to 7, are where your pigment just starts cracking and scabbing over, and it looks really insane. So I was going through that, and some of the scabs started falling off, which is the phase I'm in right now, which is where they're still a little bit scabby. Like, you can see that some of the little brow strokes still have like a scab on them, so you can see them very dark. And then other ones look like on this side, it doesn't look like anything is there. It looks like no brow strokes were ever on there. So this is like the call the police, I've been robbed phase, because your eyebrows basically just disappear for a couple of weeks. And what I've Googled and figured out is that this happens because your skin cells are regenerating like on top of the pigment that was deposited. So it kind of makes it really hard to see. You can still sort of see, it looks like somebody thought really hard about doing something to my eyebrows and then never actually did it. That's kind of the look we have going on right now. So I guess it's going to get even lighter, and unfortunately the pigment is going to come back. So hopefully it comes back in a way that I can deal with. And that is pretty much the final phase of healing, days 15 through 30, where your brows are like the color that they're probably going to be long term. So I have 5 days left to go before I get to that phase, and hopefully I can live with them then. But right now, I mean, the pigment has practically disappeared, so I don't hate them. But I will say, still not a fan of this powder, because honestly, I could have just, like, that's what I used to do on my brows myself, is just, you know, grab a brow pencil and kind of like make that line and kind of fill it in. But I wanted to not have to do that anymore. That was the whole point of getting the hair strokes, so that it would look like I had actual hairs there, and I would no longer need to draw a line and like fill that in. So it just looks like I filled it in with pencil, which for $650 is pretty disappointing. But again, we're not at the final results yet. We will be there in 5 to 10 days.
Why nobody tells you about getting nano brows? So on the first day, I was so in love with my brows. Then they started peeling. I did not expect the peeling to be this bad. And mind you, you're not supposed to add any products apart from this cream that you have to apply. So please be mindful of the time that you're going to do this process, because I had to go in the office looking like that. Overall, I'm happy with the results. I'll go back for a touch-up because I want them darker. And I don't regret it, because look at the before.
I'm going to get nano blading done, and I want you guys to see my eyebrows before.
Hi, my beauties. So I wanted to come on today because today is 1 week since I did nano blading, and I want to show you guys the results. And of course, from day 1, like, it's still peeling, but there is no pain. Did not feel any pain at all when getting the whole process done. And if you guys saw my brows before, I had so many bald spots. It looked super thin. And it's still healing, and I am going to pay her a visit in a month for some touch-ups. So look at how it is.
The healing process is the other big piece of this, and it's honestly where most of the surprises happen. Nano brows can look amazing right after the appointment, and then the healing starts. They go too dark, then they peel, then they scab, then it looks like the pigment disappeared, then it comes back. If you're not ready for that, it's a lot. One woman said she loved her brows on day 1, but wasn't ready for how bad the peeling got. Bad enough she had to go into the office mid-heal, which is exactly why timing matters. Get this done right before a big event or a work week or a vacation, and the brows might turn out fine, but the timing will still sting. Another woman broke the healing phases down pretty well. Day 1 is basically, oh God, what did I just do? Days 2 to 4, the brows look dark and intense. Days 5 to 7, cracking and scabbing. Then the pigment looks like it disappeared. Then weeks later, it settles into what it'll actually look like long term. That's the thing people miss. Fresh brows aren't the final result. Peeling brows aren't the final result. Patchy brows usually aren't either, but healing doesn't fix everything. If you ask for wispy hair strokes and got a filled in powder brow, healing might soften it, but it's still healing into a style you didn't ask for. And honestly, that's where most of the disappointment actually comes from. Not because nano brows are bad, but because what someone expected and what they got didn't match. That's just the nature of cosmetic tattooing. You can explain exactly what you want, bring photos, and still walk out realizing your artist's version of natural isn't your version of natural.
Took me to get my eyebrows nano bladed for the first time. Surprise, I have no eyebrows, and not in the alternative kind of way, in the my eyebrows never grew kind of way. I'm really excited to get this done because when I tell you every single day since I'm in 7th grade, I have filled in my eyebrows. Like I have gone through so many pencils and pomades. So when you get there, she took at least like an hour just mapping them out. And I love that because it's gonna be on my face for a good minute. So I wanted precision. Honestly, the actually getting it done did not hurt. Like if you've had a tattoo, you can handle this. And she numbs you after 5 minutes. So I felt like nothing. At first, she had me pick out a different pigment. She marked up the lines and I was like, okay, let's get it done. Then she started tattooing. And when I tell you I was kind of scared at first because I was like, but then once she had wiped it off, I was like, oh, okay. Because this, I was like, oh yeah. But once she did that wipe, I was like, wow, like you can't tell me these are not my eyebrows. You just can't tell me. I'm so in love with my eyebrows. I will let you guys know how they heal, but they just look so natural and I am in love.
You know, every day before I do my makeup, and just in general, like I'm so thankful that I did the nano blading with my brows when I did. So I got that done in September. It's February now. It's been a few months. I was supposed to go for a fill-in or like a touch-up session. I didn't go. I was just being lazy. I just didn't go. But I mean, come on, like off one session, like look at how my brows look. Like it's bouncing out my face. Actually, let me show you some context. So this is me during COVID, hard times, you know. But this is how I looked up until September. So minus the hair color, okay? My hair wasn't red. But look at the brows. First of all, the tail ends of my brows were not dark enough to like for you to see all the time. Like it was so thin. And it just made my face like kind of go inward in like a weird way. Like I don't know. It just wasn't balanced. This brow wasn't even like actually symmetrical with this side. The lady who did my brows, like she balanced everything out. My hair is like black, so you know, they're darker, but so much better. I remember like someone called me the next, like within 2 days of me getting it done, and they thought I had makeup on. I will admit it was a little dark at the time. Actually, I'll show you what it looks like right after I get it done. So right after I got it done, it was like this. And I had no makeup on. Well, no, I had some concealer on. Like within like a week, it wasn't as harsh, but still like, I'm so glad I did this.
I just have to say this. My client today dropped dead fucking gorgeous. She came in for nano brows. So she was looking to thicken them up, kind of give herself more of a clean shape. She wanted something really natural. So I mapped her. Also, my nails are a jump scare right now. My nail tech was out of town for a really long time. And just please ignore that. But here I am just mapping the stroke outlines, and then I'm going in with the actual tattoo machine and going over the hair strokes. I didn't record the whole process, but I do go over each hair stroke individually 3 to 4 times, and then these are her final results. They're going to lighten up and soften out within the next 10 days.
Nano microblading literally changed my eyebrows and my entire face. Ever since I got it done, I just feel like my eyebrows look natural all the time. It takes me like 30 seconds to do my eyebrows. I really don't even fill them in anymore. And once every like 3 weeks, I'll use men's beard dye and I'll just dye them so a little bit darker. But I got my eyebrows nano microbladed September of 2024. It's now March 2026. And the dye has not faded weird. The strokes are so minimal and natural. I don't know if you guys can like tell. It definitely has like faded over the years. Or a year and a half, but like I feel like now I have a baseline of a really good eyebrow shape. Now I'll input a photo of like what my eyebrows looked like before I got them nano microbladed. I never had like bad eyebrows, but the woman added a tail to my eyebrows to just like make it a little bit more thicker, and I feel like just like bring my face all together. I think microblading your eyebrows could definitely get a little dicey depending on who you go with, but nano microblading, they literally just do a few strokes. And again, depending on who you go with really makes a huge difference, but couldn't recommend it enough.
You also need to know what you're actually paying for, because nano brows means different things depending on who's doing it. Some artists mean pure hair strokes. Some combine strokes with shading. Some sell you a combo brow that heals more filled in than you expected. So before booking, ask specific questions. Are these hair strokes only, or is there shading involved? Will this heal like powder brows? And can I see healed results, not just fresh ones? How does this pigment fade on my skin tone? How often do I need touch-ups? And what happens if I get too many? Will the strokes blur together over time? What if I already have old microblading? What if my brows turn red or gray? What's the removal process if I end up not liking them?
Nano brows and microblading are not the same. In this video, I'm going to tell you why. They are both a permanent makeup technique, and they both give you a hair strokes result. What is the difference? The difference is in the tool that is used to create the strokes. In microblading, the traditional hair strokes technique, we use a blade with 18 needles. This needle is basically creating micro cuts, and these micro cuts are basically the strokes that you see. And in Nano Brows, we use a permanent makeup machine with a single needle. And this single needle is creating every individual hair stroke. One of the reasons why Nano Brows is becoming more and more popular is because it's less invasive. That doesn't mean that microblading will leave scarring or anything like that. If done correctly, you will see beautiful results. However, microblading is only recommended if you have normal skin type. If you have sensitive skin, if you've had previous works, old tattoos, if you have sensitive skin type, microblading is not going to heal well. The pigment will just fade out in a month. Both open up the skin, so they go through a healing process. However, it's not the same creating cuts with 18 needles than a single needle. Nano Brows is considered a cosmetic tattoo, so you still have to be really careful not to go too deep. With Nano Brows, you can also create more hyper-realistic strokes because you can fade and you can create gradients. You can play more with the thinness and thickness of the stroke. You can create even more movement, and you can add saturation or more dimension in areas that need it. Compared to microblading, where every single stroke has the exact same saturation. You cannot create a gradient or add more color in one area than another.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you want to get your brows done or done, look for an artist that does nano brows. We do not need to go in anymore with a blade to make a hair stroke and slice your skin. We could go in with the machine and with tiny little pixels create a beautiful hair stroke, actually a lot prettier than a blade can. So it heals prettier, it ages prettier. Don't confuse technique with style. You could still style and do the exact same sculpted brow that you do for microblading with nano brows. We actually have a lot more control over how exactly it will look and how it will heal, and more flexibility. We could cross over hairs, feather hairs, and do a lot more with the machine than we can with the blade.
Even the people who love their nano brows in this video bring up touch-ups constantly. Some go back every 4 weeks. Results last anywhere from 1 to 3 years. One woman was still happy a year and a half in. But one point kept coming up. Too many touch-ups too frequently can cause delicate strokes to blend and blur together. That's the part people don't really think about going in. The brows look amazing right now, but what happens after the first touch-up? The second? 3 years from now, when the strokes aren't as crisp, or your face changes, or your style changes, or brow trends shift again. Microblading looked just as promising when it was new. It was also supposed to save time, also supposed to look natural, also supposed to be the best thing going. Nano brows might genuinely hold up better. We just don't have enough years of data yet because this version of the trend is newer. Putting all of this together, I get why nano brows are blowing up. They look beautiful, soft, more realistic than a lot of older microblading. For anyone with no brows, sparse brows, overplucked brows, or missing tails, I can see how this feels life-changing. Imagine filling in your brows every single day for years, trying to get them even, natural, matched, balanced, then suddenly waking up and they're already there, washing your face, going out with zero makeup, and still feeling like your face has structure. That's a real thing. I'm not trying to downplay it, but this is where I think we need to slow down. The beauty industry loves swapping one trend for the next better version of itself. Microblading gets criticized, so nano brows become the upgrade. Filler starts migrating, so now it's all about better placement. BBLs get riskier headlines, so now it's skinny BBLs or natural BBLs. There's always a new technique promising to fix the last one's problems, and sometimes it actually does. If I had to pick between traditional microblading and nano brows based on what I've seen, I'd pick nano brows too. They look more like real hair, less like the blocky brow that made so many people want theirs removed. But that doesn't mean I'd rush into it, because this is still a tattoo on your face. Not just anywhere, your eyebrows. They control so much of your expression. They can make you look softer or harsher, younger or older, more polished or more overdone. If the shape's wrong, the color's off, the strokes are too uniform, or the healing just doesn't go how you expected, you're not wiping this off at the end of the night. Right now, most of the nanobrow content is glowing. Most people seem happy. Most results look convincing. I've seen way fewer complaints than I did with microblading at this point, But maybe that's just because the technique is newer and hasn't had time to show its problems yet. Maybe it never will, if the pigment really does age better. We don't know yet. That's the honest answer. So separate the hype from the reality. Yes, nano brows can look incredible, save time, and genuinely help people who've struggled with sparse brows their whole life. They might be better than microblading for a lot of people, but they still require research, the right artist, real healing time, and to choose. And they still come with the risk that your version of natural and your artist's version of natural aren't the same thing. If you're thinking about getting this done, don't just look at fresh results. Look at healed results, 6 months out, a year out, on people with your skin type, your brow color, your face shape, your natural density. Ask if you're getting hair strokes only or a combo brow. Ask how dark they'll start out, how much they'll fade, what happens if you don't like them, and what removal looks like before you ever need it. The goal isn't brows that look good on day one. It's brows you can actually live with once they heal, once they fade, once the trends move on, and once you're looking at your own face without a filter. Here's where I land. Nano brows look a lot better to me than traditional microblading. More realistic, softer, closer to actual hair. I get the obsession. I get why someone would choose it. I just think newer and better looking is a promise we've heard before, and it's worth a little patience before we call it solved. So tell me, do nano brows look more natural to you than microblading? Would you trust a semi-permanent tattoo on your eyebrows if it looked this real? Or do you think we're a few years out from a very different conversation about this?